Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is James, also known as the Only Zerg. This is going to be part two, titled "The Sweet Demon" in the series. What if Kenichi from the Mightiest Disciples adopted Naruto? That being said, where we last left off our story, our our main protagonist had finally met and became and started did the startings of them actually becoming a family. Mio and Kenichi expressing somewhat their feelings and what they want to do with Naruto, but there's not much you can really say because, yeah, Naruto had been shown to be kind of dense towards things, but he's not stupid. He's an airhead. He's intelligent, but he can be quite dense when it comes to certain things. He's not on, as far as most of his friend group. I would say he's in the middle pack. He's not like the dumbest ones, but yet he's not like a genius like Sasuke or later on a few other people. So, that being said, our story for this part is going to start 6 months into the future from the moment that Naruto woke up. In the past 6 months, Naruto has bonded with the Shirahamas, and he, after a couple months, I would say 2 to 3 months, he one day he called Miu mom, and this kind of took her back, and Naruto realized what he said and covered his mouth, and she just gives him a look and smiles at him, and then Naruto smiles back at her. So they have bonded, and Naruto is he doesn't quite know what to think about the two quite yet, but he knows Mew cares about him in a different way that the Lord Third does, because out of everybody in the village, as far as the adults go, Lord Third is the only one that hasn't looked at him with eyes of disgust. But the way that Neo has treated him is different from what the Lord Third does. So one day, Kenichi is outside practicing his katas in the morning, basically honing his martial arts skills in certain aspects. And he kind of sees out of the corner of his eyes that young Naruto is trying to emulating. And then he sees Naruto fall down, and Naruto begins to say, ding, 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 ding it, kind of punching the ground. So Kenichi walks over to him and chuckles a little bit, and Naruto's like, why are you... And Kenichi's like, Naruto, why are you trying to learn my arts? Naruto looks up with some little bit of tears in his eyes. Because if I get strong like you, Papa, people will recognize me, and I'll be able to become the Hokage, so that everyone will recognize me. Internal screams for Kenichi, because this is the first time Naruto has called him Papa, and over the past 6 months, Kenichi has begun to realize more and more what his father and what his master his masters had taught him in a few conversations that he had with his grandfather-in-law, the grandmaster of his dojo that he studied at. Look, Naruto, my arts are meant to be used to protect others, so I have to practice them every day. I hate studying. it's not something I was ever good at, but I have things in this world that I want to protect. And he looks down at the young Naruto, who's like drying his face, and Kenichi says, "And you're one of them." Naruto kind of smiles and gives like a little bit of a grin. And so after he says that and helps Naruto like by wiping like a tear off of his face, they hear screams coming from inside the house that they have. So stop here. Naruto had a small apartment set up in living quarters by the third Hokage. And I'm going to say that he got the Shirahamas in Naruto a new place within this time. And this is within within a month of them actually staying here. So they're in a new building because there's Mio, Kenichi, Naruto, and pretty soon a new child. So he sets them up with a bigger place, and Kenichi and Mio kind of agree to stay and leave because they feel a little bit bad about weakening the village's defenses a little bit. And the fact that they now know about the Nine-Tailed Beast's attack 3 years ago, and the Leaf seems like is their best bet at finding a way home. So they set up a deal where they'll kind of, if the Beast ever attacks again, like if it ever gets released from Naruto, they'll help defend the Leaf Village. In exchange, they can raise Naruto because they are kind of dead set on that. Because Kenichi remembers how he was bullied, like when he was younger for being weak and stuff like that. And Miu is upset that people could treat a small child like this, just because of her nature, very caring and compassionate, though kind of a ditz with their own power sometimes, which does play a role into this part. So back to our story. Kenichi, so they heard the screaming and they come running in, and Kenichi looks at Miu and she says, "It's happening, Kenichi." So as he's like running over to Miu to like kind of pick her up, he picks her up. One moment. Miu gets picked up by Kenichi in bridal style, and he's kind of walking over to like the window, and he turns back to Naruto, and he's like, "Naruto, be brave. I'll be back in a few moments. I promise you, I'll be back. I'll be back. It'd be faster and easier for me to carry your mom there to the hospital without you. That way, I can make sure." As he's looking down at her stomach. In Naruto, he has been taught to by the two, kind of explaining that Miu's pregnant, and pretty soon, basically kind of giving him the birds and the bees talk a little bit sooner, because it would be kind of awkward for a child. Because I don't know. I don't know if you viewers out there have younger siblings or not, but if from discussions that I've had with my older siblings, the talks that my mom had with them when she was pregnant with me, specifically my sister, because of me and my brother are younger than her, I gather there those talks that a parent would give like the older sibling when like a new child is coming into the family, kind of explaining to them that there's a baby inside of like mom's tummy kind of things. So they basically explain that there will be like a new person in the family soon, kind of thing. So that being said, Naruto's like with like a little bit of a tear going down in his side. It says, hmm. But he's thinking like, is mom okay? Because like Mia's clutching her stomach and she's in pain. Like she's having birthing pains. So they get Kenichi spends the next 10 minutes taking me to the hospital and coming back, and within the 5 minutes going from their house to the hospital on the other side of the village, Kenichi, like quite frankly, could cover that distance in a great deal of like a lot faster than anybody else, but because of Miyu's condition being pregnant, he's kind of taking it easy and not doing forceful jumps as much as he normally does, because basically he's running across the top of the rooftops and he doesn't want to destroy some of the buildings by landing and stuff like that by just jumping and landing. He's trying to limit as much damage as he can to the surrounding areas, because he can't just jump up high and cover a great distance out of fear of hurting his soon-to-be new child. So him and Miyu like are talking, and he's kind of telling her to breathe, and Miyu's like, don't, you have to go back and get it. Like, why didn't you just bring him with me? We could have. And Kenichi just kind of looks down at her and says, I know, but this was something that he needs to do. Like, we'll talk about it later, but he has a fighting spirit. Kind of see a little bit of me in him, a little bit. And Miyu kind of smiles, and because she understands, she remembered, this causes her to think back to the day that her and Kenichi met, and a little bit about their life before coming to this world, and then their time in the past 3.5 to 4 years in this world that they've spent, in the experiences that they've had together. And she kind of mutters before cringing in pain again, well, if you think that, fine. So they arrive at the hospital, and Kenichi spends a couple of minutes explaining the situation to the nurses. They tell Kenichi that she can come in, and he just tells them, like, no, I have to go get. And before he can say it, he realizes that he actually started to really care about Naruto. And so he spends a little bit of time going back because he's thinking over what he was about to say got him thinking about his sister and his masters, the lessons that they taught him, the conversations that he had with them on a day-to-day basis, the conversations he had with his master, like the grandmaster of the dojo, and his grandfather-in-law. So after about 10 minutes from the time of Kenichi leaving their apartment, he arrives back at the windowsill to a Naruto that's kind of crying, and Naruto looks up at him, and he begins to wipe his face off. Kenichi kind of walks over to him and picks him up and says, let's go. Mom's getting taken care of, and we should get there as soon as we can. So Kenichi lifts off, albeit putting a little bit too much power into it, and kind of breaks the building a little bit. So as they arrive at the hospital, about a minute to 2 minutes after leaving their apartment, because I would say they're in a duplex, like half the building is one apartment and the other half of the building is another, so they have like a split backyard. So Kenichi arrives there. The nurse explains that she's already in and they can't really be disturbed because there are some complications, because there's some weird things happening that they don't quite understand. Like the child has chakra, but yet from medical records, because I would say that the Hokage asked if if they've ever taken a medical exam, and he wanted to make sure there wasn't any like sealed jutsus or planted bombs or stuff like that hiding on them. Just like a safety precaution and check to make sure they're not hiding anything with inside their bodies or stuff like that. And they found out that the two don't have chakra. Matter of fact, they pretty much have as much chakra life energy as a normal person. Like people that can't really use chakra, but they're still people. Like they're non-shinobi, non-ninja like types. So basically an average citizen of like the entire land. But the child, so like the child has chakra, but neither of them do, and it's causing some minor complications. And Kenichi's a little concerned about this, and the nurse sees a look on his face, and the nurse says, "Oh no, it's nothing bad. We can deal with it, but right now they can't really be disturbed with them helping your wife deliver the baby. So the doctor asked me to ask you to wait for the family to wait out in the waiting area." And so Kenichi walks back over to a young Naruto who has a look of concern on his face. And Kenichi sits down and places his hand on top of Naruto and rubs it. And he's like, "What's up, kiddo? Is mom hurt?" "No, Naruto. It's just... Remember the talk we had a couple of months ago about the new baby?" And Naruto, like, says, "Yeah, you two said the baby's in mom's belly, and it will come out sometime." And Kenichi's like, "Yes, that's what's happening." As they hear Miyu like kind of screaming, and this causes Naruto to like stiffen up a bit, and Kenichi says, "Relax. You remember the first day that we talked?" Naruto's like, "Yeah, a little. I kind of forgot some of it. I'm sorry, I'm such a klutz." And Kenichi is understandably a little shocked by what he's saying, because Naruto isn't a normal child. He knows this. But he's showing a little bit of more maturity than what he can remember of his sister. And he kind of gets really fully what his master said. So then he asks Naruto, he's like, "Young Naruto, earlier today you were imitating my katas." And Naruto's like, is that a jutsu?" And Kenichi says, "In a sense, yes, but it's more like You know how people learn things, like you see someone do something and then you try to imitate them. Kind of like hmm, swimming. Like you know how to swim, right, Naruto? And Naruto's, yeah, I can swim. It's like that. Like you saw people swimming once and then you tried it yourself, right? And Naruto's like, yeah, I wanted to be able to play with the other kids, but they kind of told me to get lost. A little bit of pain shoots through Kenichi's chest, and he's like, yes, that's kind of what it's like. You see, these are forms to some of the arts that I know. And well, that night when the day that you woke up, you asked me why would we do something like this? And I kind of owe you an apology. I didn't really know how to answer you back then. It's just with as another scream from Miyu can be heard echoing through the hospital. With your sister being born, and some things that have happened today made me realize what my master told me once. So Kenichi then explains to young Naruto that about his sister and everything, and Naruto's a little shocked because Kenichi never once mentioned like his past. He's always, the talks that he's had with Naruto have been more of Kenichi finding more out about Naruto, kind of asking Naruto some pointed questions so that Kenichi can gauge what's in the boy's heart, kind of thing. Because if he used his Furinju, like Miyu's family's style of martial arts on the kid, it would probably scar the young child. Because he remembers the first time that his master started teaching him. And Naruto can see, like, Kenichi step off a bit, and he's like, Papa, what's wrong? Internal cries again. Well, my master told me once. Hold on one moment, I lost my place in my notes. With you, these past few months, young Naruto, made me realize my master told me. So, you want to learn my arts. You must prove yourself. My son, the next several years will be hell. If you make it, then I'll teach you my arts fully. Fail, and death may await you. So does that mean you'll train me, Papa? Under one condition. You use what you learn to protect those that mean the world to you, or those that you care about. Can you do that for me, my son? Naruto looks up at Kenichi, and he has like a smile on his face, because this is the first time anyone has really offered to like show him like a jutsu, because up until this point he's kind of had to figure things out himself. No one's really given him like formal training on how to do things. So this will begin the story of Naruto learning what he calls taijutsu. But we know that it's mixed martial arts, which is basically what taijutsu is. So a nurse comes and Kenichi realizes it's been several minutes since the last time he heard Miu cry out. And Naruto, he sees the look on Naruto's face, and he smiles at him and gives him a thumbs up. And Naruto like gets serious, and the nurse says, "She, you, congratulations, sir. You have a beautiful daughter." And Kenichi's like, "Daughter, maybe." As he looks over at Naruto, giving him a smile, it's like, maybe they'll be like me and my sister. And this makes Kenichi hopeful. Because in the past 6 months, he's never called Naruto son. It's always been boy or Naruto or young Naruto. It's never been son. And this was like today when the nurse told him that he can come in. He was about to say, "I have to go get my son now." And that's why he stopped, because it made him realize that he actually developed feelings for this child, and now he understands why Miyu, like what Miyu meant, that they have to. And so he grasped it. And this time back to the apartment, he was mulling some things over. So he stands up and he looks down at Naruto and he's smiling. He's like, "Naruto, my son, are you ready to meet your sister?" And Naruto's like, "What? She's here." Kenichi says, "Yeah, the nurse just told me that we can come in now." So as they enter the room, Naruto is met with a smile from Miyu, and she says, "Naruto, come here, meet your new sister, Hana." As Naruto can see Miyu holding something in her arms, and as he gets closer, as he gets closer to the bed, Hana begins to cry. Naruto begins to take a step backwards, but then stops and puts his foot back down, and then he takes like another step towards the bed and getting like actually right there next to the bed to where he can see Hana very clearly. And he looks down at the baby and he says, "Hana-chan, big bro's here." As he's smiling at her, he goes to like put his hands out. He goes to like put his hand out. And Miyu telling him to be careful, Naruto. She's very fragile. And Hana just, for some reason, as soon as Naruto touches her hand, Naruto sees like the size difference, and he then realizes that she's kind of grasping his pinky. And in Naruto's mind, he's like, "I'm going to always protect you." So, that being said, we are going to we're going to do about a 2-year time skip to a scene of Naruto and Miyu kind of sparring a little bit. And obviously Miyu is holding back quite a bit on the young boy, because she's kind of giving him some pointers and instructions, kind of like when the first time her and Kenichi sparred in the woods. And this is kind of making her reminisce more about the first times they met. And then she's thinking about the past 2 years, how Naruto's always been trying to help out taking care of Hana, and occasionally pulling pranks, and then he immediately like apologizes and says how Sorry, Mom, I didn't mean to, but I just wanted to play with Hana-chan. Kind of moments. Like, they have really... She realizes that she doesn't think she can never go home. She doesn't think she could ever, like, leave Naruto. Because the feelings of wanting to protect this kid has kind of developed fully over the past 2 years into him really being her son because of Hana being there. So as she's doing this, she accidentally puts a little bit too much pressure and knocks down the young Naruto. As Miyu comes in for with a punch, she kind of stops, seeing a young Hana walking over to Naruto, and she kind of gets in between Naruto and her mom, and she's kind of glaring at her mom, and she has a dead serious glare look on her face, and she kind of gets into a rough fighting style. This is when Kenichi arrives back with a few bags, because he went out to get some refreshments, because it's towards the end of the day, and he kind of saw he had been there for a little bit, because he saw a smile on Miyu's face as she's sparring with their son, now Naruto. And he kind of reminisced the first time that he sparred with Miyu, and he's like, oh, kind of clutching his chest a little bit. It's like, oh, that punch was brutal. And he was about to stop, jump in between Miyu and Naruto at the last second, but he saw Hana get up and walk over and get in between, and the look on Hana's face kind of said it all, that she's going to stand by her big bro no matter what, because Hana hasn't really spoken. She started speaking about the same time that she started walking. So they know she's smart, she's intelligent. Kenichi can realize that, and so can Miu. But she's kind of still wobbly a little bit. And she kind of falls back. As she begins to fall, Naruto then picks her up and sets her upright again. And they begin to laugh. But Kenichi's thinking huh, she's going to be some trouble in the future. Sorry about the interruption, but I had a guest walk in. So I believe where we left off, I was explaining that Kenichi basically said in his mind, it's like, huh, she's going to be a handful in the future. And Kenichi begins to think, if she has chakra, like the doctor said, it's not something I would be able to teach her. But I can, maybe. And that being said, that's actually where the end of my notes for this part. The rest of my notes go into episode 3. So I'm going to end it here. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this part. And I apologize that this episode didn't really have too much fighting in it, but I really needed to explain and really build up the family dynamic a little bit. And that being said, so the thing is, Hana has inherited her father's his innate ability to get stronger faster than like normal. Examples of this are in canon, because I did kind of explain it. But in canon, the masters of the dojo that he studied at were surprised at the progress that he had shown within the short amount of time that he had actually been doing the thing. So Kenichi will eventually try to find someone that can teach her chakra, but first he's going to teach her some of his family, like their family's martial arts styles. Albeit like the minor stuff, like certain katas that she can practice and start, since she's starting to like really walk and run a little bit, but she's still kind of wobbly, like getting like her leggings, because she started walking about a year to a year and a half after she was born. So she can't run outright, and if she does, she'll like trip and fall. She's still kind of unsure on her feet. But that's just because of her natures, kind of not really like her chakra natures don't really mesh too well, because her natures are earth and lightning. So that being said, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.